connecting. Okay, looks like that worked. Let me go big screen. I think that's good. Okay, I think we are live. We'll take some waves or thumbs up if you guys are with us this morning. Good morning. This is the...
You disappeared from Instagram.
I did? Oh. Oh, it says connecting still. Why is it doing that? Full draw is unable to join, it now says.
It just says the Instagram video ended.
Okay, let's try that again. Sorry, Facebook. Hold on a sec. End. Delete. Checking connection. All right, we're now live on Insta. I'll let you try that again. Thanks everyone for your patience. Okay, view, view, go live. It just says waiting for you. Do I think that's okay? Waiting. We're trying to be technologically sound here. What's happening on your end, Kate?
No.
Nothing?
It's like staticky on Instagram, and then...
Yeah, it keeps saying unable to join. Can you try that again? Or here, I just sent you a request. Oh, there. Are you muted?
Do you have your volume on your computer?
I just turned it off, but I need to be able to hear you, right? Actually, I can hear you on my phone, I think. Okay.
No, you need to be able to hear it just on your phone.
Perfect. Okay, sorry everyone. We are physical therapists, not IT. Good morning. This is the PT on Ice Daily Show. My name is Dr. Sarah Herron. I'm here with Dr. Kate Blankshane, and we are here on Leadership Thursday to talk about this concept of working less and making more. But before we get started, quick introduction. So I am a private practice owner in Seattle, Washington. I teach for ICE in the PT Practice Ownership Division with Kate. She is a private practice owner in Chicago. We are repping our own brands today. I own Aero Physical Therapy and Kate owns Rally Physical Therapy. And our interest is in helping our students get to kind of this stage of practice ownership. We have our next cohort of the out-of-network step-by-step course starting in January, along with lots of other online courses through ICE. So make sure that you check out ptonice.com to get registered for those courses. You can also be following us on social media, and all of that information is constantly being uploaded there. Okay, so to get started, since we delayed a bit, we want to talk about this concept of work less, make more, right? So is this really what we mean? That's kind of one thing that we want to talk about today. And then we want to address maybe how that isn't realistic, right? So maybe it's not what we're actually saying, and maybe that concept isn't really what we need to be saying. So we do hear this advertised a lot, right? So we hear, don't you wish you could make more, work less? Don't you wish your business could run without you? 10 steps to working less and making more, 6 figures and time off, all of this stuff. And it's really appealing, right? And that's really appealing to physical therapists for lots of reasons. So some of the reasons that we've brainstormed are that we're burnt out from high volume, especially in those corporate jobs that many of us have worked in. We're seeing too many patients oftentimes. Maybe we're not making enough money. And in some cases, when you break down how many patients you're seeing per hour, it can be as little as like $10 to $15 a patient. So that feels really, like you're being taken advantage of sometimes. Most of us, not many, but most of us have student loans to pay off, and we often feel frustrated that we have this high level, usually doctorate degree at this point, and we aren't making as much money as we feel like we should be making. We also usually don't have as much control over our schedule, and so sometimes we call this work-life balance, and we're going to get into that. And then a big one for lots of folks that we see in the ICE community is that we don't feel like we're providing quality care. And maybe that's because of the model that we're working in or the company that we work for. We feel like we're not treating the way that we want to treat. And so we kind of grow to dislike and resent our job and kind of feel like we don't have this work-life balance. So I'm going to pass the mic to Kate, and she's going to start us off kind of diving into what all of this is about.
So as Sarah mentioned, we're basically talking about this concept in general because many PTs are unhappy in their staff PT jobs. And so this concept of work less and make more sounds really appealing. And many PTs are starting to look at practice ownership with this goal of working less and making more. But without actually understanding why you're unhappy in your current job, you can't make a good decision about whether practice ownership is the right choice for you. So you're thinking about I want to work less, I want to make more because I'm unhappy in my current job. And a lot of messaging that we're getting is basically that the solution to that is to own your own practice. But we're going to break it down a little bit more to see if practice ownership is actually the right choice in this case. So really there are these two components of work less and make more. So often in saying they want to work less, people are really saying that they want more work-life balance or they want to see fewer patients. And then in saying they want to make more, it's that they don't feel they're being compensated enough for their work they're putting in at their current job. So we'll start off with this idea of work-life balance. And I think the true definition of work-life balance is this ability to leave work at work and to have more time outside work when you're not thinking about work at all. So it's this idea of leaving your computer at work, going home at the end of the day, not having to think about it anymore. And so with this kind of true definition of work-life balance, practice ownership might not be the best path for you. Because if you're owning your own practice, often, at least in the first few years, you're not leaving work at work. You're bringing it home, you're marketing, you're writing blogs, you're answering text messages. So that is not going to give you work-life balance. And if that is your goal, is really just to leave work at home, usually your best solution in that case is going to be to just find a different job. And that's something like maybe home health or working at a travel contract or even taking a job at a high volume clinic where you can really leave it behind you at the end of the day. But what we're also seeing is some people say work-life balance, but they're really meaning something else. So they kind of hold on to this idea of work-life balance. This is why I want to open my own practice. But when they say that, we're finding that what they really mean is that they want control over their schedule, they want to actually like their job more, and they want to be actually compensated for what they're doing. So it's more of this idea that they want to work on their own terms, and they want to have higher earning potential instead of just, I want to work less, and I want to make more money. So we want to make sure that we're talking to that definition and not just trying to get more work-life balance and leaving work at work. It's more about taking control of your schedule, more about doing what you want to do and treating who you want to treat. So often this idea of I want to work less and work more comes from you feeling like you're burned out. And so when you think about burnout in your current job and deciding where you go from here, you really have to understand why you're burned out, because I think sometimes we think we're just burned out, we think it's about the volume, or we think it's about how many patients we're seeing, but really it's about something else. So a couple of questions to ask yourself about burnout. Are you burned out because of the number of patients you're seeing? Or are you burned out because you're not making enough money or actually directly benefiting from seeing all of those patients? And a good example of that for me is that I moved from a high volume clinic to opening my own practice. And my volume by the end of that first year when I owned my own practice was actually not that different. So I was treating about 50 to 60 a week on the half hour at my other job. And then by the end of year one, at my practice, I was at about 45 a week on the hour. So I was actually working 45 treating hours, but I didn't feel burned out. And I thought it was all about patient volume for me. I thought I wanted to see fewer patients, but I was tired and I knew I needed to make a change, which is when I started to hire, but I didn't have that same sense of burnout. So I thought I was burned out just because I was seeing too many patients, but for me, it was more that I wasn't treating how I wanted to. I felt like I wasn't providing quality care. I was tired at the end of the day, and I wasn't seeing any benefit from seeing more patients. I wasn't making any more money. And then the other question is, are you burned out because you actually want work-life balance, or you want to leave work at work? Or is it that you want more control over your schedule? And I think sometimes this comes up with things like travel or working holidays, where you think that you want to work less, but really it's that you just want to work when you want to work, and you want control over your schedule, or maybe you want control over your hours per day, and you don't want to work from 11 o'clock to 8 o'clock, you want to work from 6 a.m. to 2. So some of that, I think, comes out in wanting to work less, but really it's that you want to work differently, or you want more control over your schedule. And then I think there are these other questions about the leadership in your company. So are you burned out because you're actually growing to resent the leadership? And part of that can be because you feel like you're not making enough money from the patients you're seeing, or you're not being heard, or you're not being valued. Or is it that you don't believe in your company's philosophy and you actually want to treat patients differently? So maybe you're frustrated because you don't have the equipment you want to have. Maybe they're not treating in that more fitness forward way that you want to be, and you feel like you're frustrated without leadership and you want to do something different. So all of these questions are really to help you figure out why you're feeling burned out, because if you don't know why you're burned out, it's hard to tell what path is going to be best for you, and whether that is owning your own practice or finding a different PT job. So Sarah's going to talk a little bit more about this idea of work less, make more as a PT practice owner. So if you've answered some of those questions, like I do want more control, it's not that I don't want to work less, it's more that I want to work differently and I want to work for myself. These are kind of the strategies to get toward that mindset of eventually being able to feel like you're working less and making more.
Great. So as Kate said, we're gonna look at this from the perspective of a PT practice owner. So we're not looking at it from the perspective of somebody who wants to get out of that practice. Uh-oh, Instagram. What are you doing? Pause. Oh, I hope it doesn't go out. Okay, you're back. Okay, so we want to address this in terms of, again, PT practice owners versus maybe somebody who wants to get out of patient care and sell online programs or something like that. That's a different discussion. So really realistic ways to work less. These are going to include seeing fewer patients, okay? Building a business to the point that you can hire and delegate and then, as Kate said, work differently. And then finding work that doesn't feel like work. Those are really the ways that we work less. There are realistic ways to make more, and really that is see more patients, see more patients, see more patients, hire other people to see more patients. Okay? So patient volume is how we're going to make more money as practitioners. Okay, so as business owners, we want to let go of this idea of working less, making more, and instead think about our earning potential over time. Okay, hopefully you can get to a point where you are seeing fewer patients if that's your goal, but this is going to happen over the course of time. So we want to talk about the stages of PT practice ownership as we see them. First stage, work more, make less. Okay, you're working all the time. constantly trying to keep your business running, marketing. You are obviously seeing patients, but you're doing all the blogging, all the social media, all the running around, all the workshops, right? And maybe you're making less money. Second stage is going to be work more, make more. And the third stage is going to be work differently, make more. There is an alternative, and that would be work less, make less, right? And so some people, their goal is PT practice ownership, but not necessarily to grow and make money. They just want to like their job and be happier. Okay, so we're going to table that work less, make less, but that is certainly the case for some people. And then we're going to go through these three different stages. So work more, make less. Like I mentioned, this is the startup phase, really. It's kind of just about investing in your practice. It's about trial and error. It's about proof of concept, kind of figuring out what we're doing here. We're building our reputation. We're hustling to treat patients, right? But we're really answering these questions to ourselves of what's my treatment style? What's my brand? What's setting me apart? Why are patients coming to see me? Or why am I struggling to get patients? What's not working? Am I in the right location? Am I in the right setting? Am I marketing to the appropriate avatar? All of those things that we actually will get into in our out-of-network course quite a bit. But again, this is this idea that we're working a lot, but we're maybe not making that much money yet. Okay, second stage, work more, make more. So this is the hustle. This is when we've started to figure out our market. We are getting more referrals. We have lots of word of mouth happening. We're building relationships. Our reputation is growing, right? And at this point, our goal is to see as many patients as we can. If a new referral comes in, we take it, right? And then we're actually increasing our hours oftentimes just to like fit everybody in. And maybe that's not ideal. Maybe, like Kate mentioned, that is certainly not giving us work-life balance that we want, okay? But we're growing the business. This is our growth point, and we're trying to generate enough revenue to actually invest in the business moving forward. Our final stage is going to be working differently and making more. And this is where we're talking about hiring or at least delegating tasks and managing these tasks. Employees are going to take on more of the work of physically seeing the patients, right? And you are going to be focused on marketing. You're going to be managing those employees, and you're going to be continuing to grow the business. So you at the previous stages probably have put in some systems for your business that can kind of help it run without you. And that's where your employees are going to be kind of taking over, and you have some more freedom, whether that's time freedom, right, of getting out of the clinic, or financial freedom to invest in different ways. But you can step away from patient care, and your business is still going to be making money. So again, to sort of like circle back, we want to get away from this idea that our goal is to work less and make more. Probably isn't the goal that you're actually thinking of when you say that. And so it's important to think about the burnout factors. It's important to think about what is work-life balance to you, and then really thinking about these realistic stages of practice ownership. So that's all we have for you today. Let us know your thoughts. Be curious about what your goals are, or if you find this to be helpful. Kate, anything else from your end? All right, have a great Thursday, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Okay, end. Oops, exit. And.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.